Hi, welcome back to Your Faces Catholics channel. Obviously, it's been a really long time since you've seen either Kateri or me. I've been wanting to get back into the vlogging for a while now, but Kateri and I are living in separate states since I've moved to Ohio, and so I've decided to rebrand our channel and make it into my own. So welcome to Rejoice and Be Tried. So first things first, I think it's important for y'all to know I go by my full name, Rachel Claire, instead of Rachel as I used to in the Your Faces Catholic videos. Just a heads up FYI. So my name is Rachel Claire. This is the video that I had originally created this channel for, or at least wanted to rebrand the Your Faces Catholic channel for. So as I mentioned in my intro video, the Latin Mass and traditional Catholicism is something that has become extremely important to me, and it's been helped me grow in my faith life so much, and it's something that I want to share with everybody because it's just so great. I get so many questions about what to expect when going to the Latin Mass for the very first time. It's so much easier for me to talk and explain it to you, explain the Latin Mass in a video, rather than write it out in a giant post or a long thread of tweets. I think that it's safe to say that the majority of us, at least in my generation, have grown up in the Novus Ordo. Many of us find out about the TLM later on in our teens or in our early adulthood, and naturally we're so used to the Mass that we've known all of our lives, and the idea of going to the TLM for the first time is foreign, and it's kind of a little scary. That is okay. I just want to start off by saying that it is going to be a little confusing your first few times. I often hear people say, "Oh, I went to the Latin Mass once. It wasn't my personal preference." No. That's not how it works. Not everyone's going to be able to go once or twice and automatically have this deep emotional connection. There's so much to the Latin Mass, you cannot fully appreciate it for what it is by only going for a few times. It is okay to feel a little lost when you're first experiencing it. It's pretty different than the Novus Ordo that most of us are used to. For your first time, I say just let yourself experience it. Look up the readings beforehand so that you can be familiar with the Sunday Mass that you're going to. I do want to say, it is important to know that the Latin Mass readings are usually different than what they say in the Novus Ordo because we follow the traditional calendar. We follow a different calendar. But just look up the Latin Mass readings beforehand, and then at Mass, just sit back and take it in. Watch the priest. Watch the servers. You can try to follow along with the missal, but my recommendation is, for the first couple of times at least, just watch and pray. Now, I wouldn't pray like the Rosary or something. I have heard of people doing that in the Latin Mass or in something where they don't understand as much, and I don't personally recommend that because the Mass is a prayer in itself. Immerse yourself in the prayer of the Mass. I do recommend that you eventually get a missal. The 1962 missal is huge and expensive, but there are lots of other options that you can use. Many traditional churches have this little red missal booklet available to its parishioners. You can also buy it on Amazon for $7, and I'll link that one down below. You can also use the Laudate app. So on the Laudate app, you would go to the readings and saying of the day, and then you would scroll down a little bit, and Latin Mass is right there. It's basically what you would get in the Missal, if this is the only thing that you have immediately available to you, but I think it's nice to have the actual Missal in front of you. And the Little Red Missal also has pictures, which I think is pretty fun. So this is my copy of the 1962 Latin Missal, and the little Missal that I was talking about is really similar, and it's basically just like a smaller, condensed version. So how it works is it has the Latin on one side, and then on the other side there's the English translation. You can use this to follow along with the priest and the servers, and I'm thinking that I'll probably make a video sometime in the future where I talk about Missal a little further in depth because there is a lot to it. And Kateria and I do have a Your Face is Catholic video that goes into the Latin Missal a little bit, but that is another video for another time. So that's about it as far as experiencing the Mass itself. A couple of side notes I do have. First off, the High Mass is sung. It's just so beautiful. And I always try to take my friends who are going to the TLM for the first time to a High Mass just so that they can experience that beauty. As far as I know, you can generally tell it's going to be a High Mass or a Low Mass by looking at the number of candles that are next to the tabernacle. So a High Mass would have 6 candles lit and a Low Mass would have just 2 candles lit. At least that's what I read before. Also, it's very important that you are dressed appropriately. Guys, that's pretty easy for you with your colored shirt and slacks, and girls dress modestly, meaning knee-length skirts and sleeves that cover your shoulders. And ladies, I do recommend veiling if you don't do this regularly already. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a mantilla. I've worn a scarf wrapped around my head, and I've seen women wear like a nice hat before. This is a great devotion to have, and this is another thing that I will probably make a video more in depth about in the future. And when you go up to receive communion, you will receive it kneeling at the altar rail if you're physically able to, and always on the tongue. You just stick out your tongue and you don't say amen. That confused me the first time that I went. So yeah, that is my TLM 101, like the basics, scratching the surface of the Latin Mass. If you haven't gone to the Latin Mass, or if you haven't gone more than just a couple of times, I highly recommend that you just go and experience it and actually try to immerse yourself and fall in love with this beautiful Mass. The Latin Mass is so important to who we are as Catholics. It's where we came from, and it's important that we don't lose that. So my encouragement for you today is to go find yourself a Latin Mass. If you have a Latin Mass readily available to you, go check it out, and go check it out more than just a couple of times. As always, be holy. Please pray for me. Okay, bye.